Listening to the Pipe Bomb Podcast with James, Nick, Gigi, Josh, Sam, and Tom. Ring the bell.
I'm trying to drown myself in water, apparently.
Oh no, don't drown.
I know, there's too much to talk about to drown. For real.
Oh, I see why it's not working. Because I have a picture of Gigi here under the same fucking name. And it's like telling me that it needs to duplicate. I'm like, what the fuck needs to be duplicated? Move to trash. Get it out of here. Goodbye, Gigi.
Oh, Gigi's bit trash.
Trash. Where she belongs. I'm kidding. I love Gigi. She's like my little annoying sister.
Rated S for shady when Gigi's on.
Alright, let's get started. Brandy, you should host. This will be your first time hosting.
Yay!
Alright.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Pipe Bomb Podcast. I'm Brandy, and I'm your hostess with the most today, but I'm not alone. In the corner is the wonderful Jimmy Vibes. James.
Hello. Hi, Brandy. What's good?
Oh, wrestling is good. There's so much, especially if you're a women's wrestling fan, there's so much going on. And I'm super excited to do this show and talk about it.
I know, that's true. I feel like it's an exciting time right now to be a wrestling fan. Like, so much is going on, especially with, like, Evolve and WWE opening their doors to TNA, actually taking in TNA guys. So, like, it's just crazy now. Like, it's very unpredictable, and I love that shit.
I love that. I love the tournaments that they're doing because there's that rumor in the mix that there's going to be a women's tournament.
Yes.
And we're already in NXT getting all these awesome women from the independents. And then we've got 2 huge shows coming up for independent women's wrestling fans. So it's super exciting.
Yes. Well, let's just jump all into all these good topics that we have. All the tea. Let's give the
all
kids
the tea. All right. So we're going to start with Raw, this past Raw.
Yeah.
And let's see. Our first run-in with a female character on the show was the lovely Maryse. She was out for the Sami Zayn versus Cesaro match, and Kevin Owens on commentary, and her man The Miz on commentary. And she didn't really do too much except be wonderful and fabulous, like she is. Just adding value by sitting there looking pretty, kind of deal. Just pumping Miz's character, kind of deal.
Yeah.
This match is one that we're going to see as Extreme Rules between these guys. And what happened is we actually had a breakdown between all of them, and Stephanie and Shane came out, made the tag match. Then the Queen herself came out, Stephanie, and kind of changed it around to make it a more interesting match. So we got kind of a teaser, a preview of what we can kind of expect at Extreme Rules. And you have to question, like, Maryse has been really involved in Miz's matches. So you kind of have to question, what's the Maryse factor going into Extreme Rules?
I know.
You know, we've already seen her, like, throw herself on his legs to keep him pinned down and keep him from being, like, suplexed. And you just never know. Maryse is definitely... Because wasn't it Maryse that had the incident where she climbed a ladder kind of deal to get the... Or she was going... Maybe it was something that was going to happen.
It was her. That's when she was with Ted DiBiase.
Yeah.
It was,
I was going to say... DiBiase was so stupid. He did not know what he had with Maryse, and so I'm so glad to see her with The Miz, because it's super cute that they're a married couple. She adds so much to his character, and it's just good to see her back.
I know, she's starting to develop this reputation of getting involved in the men's matches. And I really like that about Maryse. I hope that it's something that they build on, and I hope it's something that they touch on more on commentary, just to get the casual fans into it more and be like, that Maryse factor, she's not only that she's beautiful, this woman will pull out all the stops for her husband and walk away still WWE Intercontinental Champion. And I love the pairing of the two of them. They fit like a glove. and the chemistry is all over the place. Maurice is just that natural bitchy bitch on TV. Like
Oh,
she's just so good, and she oozes, and she just melted right into the character. And you know why I feel like it worked and people were so acceptive of it like quickly? Is because we do know that they're married. We see them all over social media together. You know, they're at every red carpet together. Every year for Hall of Fame, Maurice is there slaying on the Hall of Fame red carpet with the Miz. So we're used to seeing them together. So it's nice
yeah.
to see it be brought on TV. I really
Yeah, and
like it.
plus anyone who watched Wags with Kelly Kelly,
Mm-hmm.
if you follow Kelly Kelly on social media, you see that Kelly Kelly and Maurice are still really good friends. When she had her bachelorette party, I think it was, Maurice was there, kind of deal. So Maurice has had some exposure outside of the WWE
Mm-hmm.
for the casual viewer. But I'm excited to see because I love Maurice, and I can't wait to really see her get into an altercation with one of the other women.
Oh, really? I feel like that's going to come down the line. I'm not in
Oh,
like
no.
a big rush to see Maurice get physical. Not at all, because
Oh no,
I
I don't necessarily want to see her get physical in the ring. I want to see some drama happen ringside.
No, I
Like,
get you, but I feel like that's something. That's a spot where her and Lana, the WWE has to make happen. I feel like it is gonna happen. Eventually, we're gonna have a run in with Miz, Rusev, and Lana and the Miz. I mean Lana and Rusev and Miz and Maurice. I feel like. Am I saying it right this time? Maurice.
you
What?
say it however you want to say it. Words don't own you.
Wait, the last time I had was Sam and Nick drag me because I kept calling
'Cause-
her Maurice. Yeah.
yeah, and it
Did I
no.
say it right? I probably said it wrong earlier. Now I corrected
Oh,
myself.
it doesn't matter.
We didn't catch it.
I'm not gonna bug you on it because I've got a whole lot of women on my list that I have no clue how to say their name. I've never heard it said. Let me just do my best. People can flame me about it if they want to. But do you know who I would like to see at some point in time? And I don't know, given the timing and where this person is and the WWE universe, if we'd ever see it. But I would love to see Maurice and Alexa Bliss kind of have a run in because Alexa Bliss is so good as that manager that interferes kind of deal down at NXT.
hmm
And I just think that for some reason, I just feel that. I feel like they would have really good chemistry kind of deal.
Especially with what's going on with Alexa Bliss right now, I can't wait to talk about it. And Alexa Bliss is one of the girls that I feel like she could talk to anybody on mic and it would be good. Especially with somebody like Maurice who can talk on camera as well. I feel like the interactions would be good.
I feel like when Alexa hits that main roster, she's going to blow up because of
Oh
that
yeah.
mouth. It's going to be great. Okay, so we had Maurice. We're kind of like, I really think she's going to get involved in Extreme Rules and help her man keep the title.
Definitely.
I think they've got like a money match going on because you've got like Cesaro and Sami Zayn. I mean, 2013 they had like matches of the year kind of deal. That was a huge feud in NXT, and they're not going to hang up the boots on that so much. And if they're smart, they're going to invest in that feud between them. And then of course you've got the never-ending saga between Owens and Sammy. But then Owens has really started sticking it to the Miz. I really like how Miz has been incorporated with these guys because I mean Miz was Kevin Owens is a kind of heel that you love to hate. Like even though he's the bad guy, you love him because he's such an amazing performer and such an amazing character. The Miz is someone that no one ever wants to give credit for the fact that he is actually able to produce good matches, and there's just so much blatant like Eva Marie heat towards him.
I feel like though with Miz, it's not like people hate him. I feel like if people see Miz on the streets, they'd go up to him, they'd embrace him. I just feel like he gets legit heat on, like he has just on air heat. Like when he's on TV, because he's just so good in his character. He's so arrogant, and he's been working on this character for years on WWE because he's been a bad guy for the longest time. And you know who he reminds me of? And it's not that they're just alike. It's not that their mic skills are alike, their movesets are alike, or they look alike. He just reminds me of Chris Jericho when he does his little heel thing.
Yes.
It's just the way that Chris Jericho taps into being a heel. You just love to watch Chris Jericho as a heel, and Chris Jericho generates that heat from the crowds. Like Chris Jericho just knows how to make the crowd boo him, even though they love him and they still tune into his podcast. And I feel like the Miz has the same niche. He can make the fans quickly hate on him. Like that whole, when my hand goes up, your mouth still shut. I love that shit.
I do too. It's a great little catchphrase for him. And you just believe it. You're like, oh, this dick.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this fucking asshole, and then you see him with the hot chick. You're like, what a fucking prick. You know? Like, I don't know. I love that in the Mrs. character. Especially now that he's gone Hollywood. Like, he's so over the top. And it's the shit. I love it.
And I love that he went Hollywood, but it's not just a carbon copy of when The Rock went Hollywood, you know? Or when Hollywood Hulk Hogan went Hollywood. You know, it, like, Miz has taken an idea that's been done before and really put his own spin on it and brought a whole new character to life, and I am appreciative of that.
Definitely.
But moving on with Raw, the next segment that we had was Dana versus Becky Lynch. Now, we know that Emma has unfortunately suffered an injury, a back injury. It was a herniated disc, which meant she had to have surgery. So she's going to be on the shelf for a hot minute with that. And, you know, it is depending on how well she heals, it is questionable whether she'll be able to continue to compete.
Well, they did say that her surgery was successful, but that we still don't know. Like you said, Randy, if she'll be able to come back and compete. That's all going to happen when she starts rehabbing her back.
I wonder if she does rehab and she comes back, if she's going to still be able to do the Emma lock the way she's been doing it with that back bend and twerking that back like that. I don't know if she's going to...
Well, she hasn't done it in a while. Since she went heel, she stopped doing it for a bit. Well, she did that whole turnbuckle thing. She throws him into the bottom of the turnbuckle before she applies it. But I'm okay with the whole Michinoku driver that she did on Becky Lynch a couple of weeks ago. Like, I like that. And it's
as long as... Well, like... I was going to say, as long as, like, Dana kind of dropped that move, because I wasn't too keen on maybe them both having the same kind of finisher, but now it's a moot point. Like, Dana can continue. I want Dana to continue adding high-impact moves to her set, because she is a power lifter. She is super strong, and I like to see women do the strong moves like that.
I agree. Yeah. I don't know, but when it comes to Emma, I'm like... I was rooting for her for the longest time. When she's down on NXT, I was like, yes, now it's time to get your career back on track. And she finally did that. Like, this girl done a 360 in under a year. She's been working hard, but from what we've seen on TV, it felt like it's been under a year. But this girl, and then she makes it to the main roster. She's getting like a push. She's in a storyline. They brought up Dana Brooks with her because Dana Brooks really compliments Emma. A lot of people, like, Dana Brooks gets so much fucking shade, but this girl compliments Emma. I feel like Dana Brooks, if she ever gets injured, God forbid, she has a career in being somebody's manager because she is damn good on that fucking mic, and her presence is strong. So with her and Emma together, they were just a legit badass team, and it just sucks that Emma got injured. It sucks. I don't know how else to word it. When I found out about it, remember the group chat? I felt like someone died. I was just like, no, I gotta mourn a bit.
You were like, no.
I had to take it in a bit. I was just like, and then I could not get on social media because I was tired of seeing all the tweets. Oh, Emma, get well soon. I was just like, I can't take it. I can't. And I'm just so hurt because I was really getting behind Emma. It sucks.
I know. I was too. But I hope that WWE continues to push Dana as this heel. And even if that means bringing up someone, I would not be hurt to see them bring up somebody, maybe Miss Alexa, to be with Dana kind of deal. I like Dana in a pairing, but if they do her well and they do her story well. But the whole reason they brought Dana up is to fulfill that gap that was left by Tamina and Naomi being out kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And, of course, those two were filling the gap of the Bellas being gone. So it seems like Vince is really keen on having two women in a heel partnership. So, yeah, you never know what you might see. Who knows? They might throw Alicia Fox with her, which, call me crazy, I think that could work, especially if Alicia went crazy heel like she went before.
I don't think she'd work with Dana. Because Alicia, like, what relationship do they have? That's me thinking.
Well, that's a story that could be developed, though. But
it would have to be developed. I'm here for the Alexa Bliss call up.
I am totally, and I think her and Dana would look hot together.
I feel like Dana Brooke is good enough to do it on her own. I really do.
I think so too.
And it's funny that you mentioned the whole duo. Vince McMahon wanting women, because I mentioned that in the last show too. I was like, he loves his formulas. He likes to stick to his formulas, what works. And to him, he feels like a duo bad girl group works for TV because it can get the babyface over when they have two mean girls picking on them.
Well, they've had such success with the underdog story, like of course with Daniel Bryan being an underdog, they've had success with that. And then Bayley, that like to me was an even bigger success than Daniel Bryan as far as underdog goes, especially for women. Bayley might be the most over underdog in the history of wrestling in the WWE.
Definitely.
But so we finally got, because I remember someone in the chat had mentioned that they couldn't wait to see Dana's entrance on the Raw set. So we finally get that, finally get to hear her music coming out. I'm not too keen on the new entrance video they've done for her, the colors they chose for it.
Yeah, I can tell, like, I wanted to mention that was just rush in panic because Emma just got injured.
Yeah,
so
I guess they were going to be...
They were going to use Emma's theme for Monday Night Raw. And clearly they didn't have enough time. Emma was injured. She has to have surgery. So they just went ahead and quickly put together something for Dana. It'll change. It'll change. I'm not worried about it.
And I hope they go with a better color scheme because I don't know that I've ever seen Dana wear like browns and yellows and stuff like that. No. She's usually like a pink or a purple, gray, black.
I hope they put like the triangles that she has like in her theme.
Yeah.
And the whole Titantron. I hope they add that and put it around the ring and all over those screens. Like, I just want it to be darker colors. Darker colors. Because Dana's always in a dark shade. She's never in bright colors. Mm-mm. So, we'll see.
We'll see. And I feel like she's gone more platinum with her hair. She's stopped doing like the gray.
I know. I kind of missed the gray though because it separated her. But I want to talk about her backstage segment before she came out for her match.
Oh my gosh, yes. That was great.
With the guys all backstage laughing and then she came in and she's like, ah, and then the guy started, she's like, ew. She puts her hand in his face.
Yeah, she's like giving him
so
like,
good.
She read him about his body, like, do something about, your body and
in your face, and then maybe you can call me. Yeah. It was good. Like, I love Dana. Like, she's just commanding the main roster so quickly. And that's why I made that comparison with her and Charlotte a couple of shows ago that, like, just as quick as Charlotte's been, like, learning, Dana Brooks is on the same path, and her and Charlotte are really good friends. So I could see her rubbing off, but Dana...
That's a match I could enjoy seeing down the line.
I know, I want to see that. Even though they had that little NXT match, it was a little disappointing because it was short.
Yeah. But, like, since the Asuka match, though, like, Dana, that to me has been the pinnacle of showing just how far in ring that she had came, was that Asuka match. So now knowing she can wrestle on that caliber versus a Flair... That's going to be awesome to see. And so this match between her and Becky was really good. I liked it better than the previous one between them because I felt like the first one that had been on SmackDown was just Dana kicking the crap out of Becky.
It was more of a fight to me.
Yeah, it wasn't a big wrestling. And that's a personal thing for me. I want to see wrestling moves. I don't want to just see you stomping a mud hole all the time. I want to see... I mean, there are some matches that, like, for instance, the brawls that Sammy and Kevin start out with, those are necessary because it gets across that anger.
So you didn't feel like the brawl type was necessary with Dana Brooke attacking Becky Lynch backstage and how Becky Lynch came out on her entrance and then she just stopped. Because you know how she comes out, she does the whole thing, she addresses the crowd, she came out, she stopped, and she just looked, it was tunnel vision. All she saw was Dana Brooke, and she went in there, to me, it was a fight field. They were just throwing bows, kicking each other, elbows, punches, hair pulls, poking the eye. I loved that. I feel like it was different because I know that Dana Brooks is capable of holding on a traditional wrestling match with grapple holds and maneuvers. But it was nice to see like a beat that. To me, it made it feel a little more personal.
Yeah, well, I liked the beat down in the beginning, but I definitely would have wanted to see, especially because of Becky Lynch's just her repertoire of moves. I really wanted to see more of that. And plus,
you want to see Dana Brooks showcase what she can do too.
Yeah, because you have to think, Dana, though she is really well known with NXT, a huge portion of the people who are watching Raw are just casual viewers. So they're not necessarily watching her on the network. And I would have liked to have seen that. But I feel like this match on Raw definitely added more to it. They had more actual grappling and stuff like that. And I really liked it because there was some fun exchanges. One, Dana is so vocal in matches.
I like
I
that.
love it. I love to hear her trash talking her opponent kind of deal. Like when she slid out of the ring and she was telling the crowd like not to cheer Becky. She was like, "No, you don't do that. No."
I
And
love it.
and then Becky in the match mocking Dana. I thought that was
Oh,
pretty.
with the pat on the head.
Nice. Yeah.
See, I love the way that they work together. I think it's fun. It's on point. But like you said, like the crowd's not familiar with Dana Brooke, so it'd be nice to see her put in some of her maneuvers in there. But I'm glad that she has been picking up these wins from Becky Lynch. And people are like, oh, another loss for Becky, another loss for Becky. It's okay. Becky can lose. That's what she's there for. It's a whole chess game. Everybody has their parts to play. It's Becky is right now, she's a underdog baby face. So what do they need to do? They need to lose. How? By their competitor cheating. And that's exactly what Dana Brooks is doing. She's cheating to win. So I'm excited for that. I love that Dana's picked up 2 wins on Becky Lynch already.
Yeah, and clean. That
Yeah.
was a clean one this past week, and I appreciated that.
It's great. Now what I want to see is I need to see a backstory of Dana Brooks. They need to stop putting up what Dana Brooks done on NXT to get crowd familiar. Like, all right, this girl can't go. Now that Emma's gone, you got to let us know who Dana is before the crowd start not giving a fuck about her. Show them what she's done and where she's come from. The whole playtime's over, pat on the head, let everybody know what she does, how she tormented Devin down on NXT. I want to see that shit. You got to put it out there so people can get a whole like overview of who Dana Brooks is.
Yeah, like if this continues on to where there's a big pay-per-view build up, I hope they do a package on Dana and showcase all that. I will say that for the people with Becky that want her, like, oh, she's losing. Do you know what happens when you take a baby face and you book them to never lose? You get John Cena.
Or you get Mickie James.
Yeah. Is that what you want? Because that's how you get John Cena. Okay, people?
I know. Like, I remember, this is why I fell out of love with Mickie James. She won too much.
And it became a very obvious, like, this is just a person that the back really likes. Because a lot of times the caliber of the match will go down because it'll be like, oh, let's just beat the crap out of the babyface and she'll come back, like in 2 moves and win. But Becky, to me, Becky right now is filling a spot on the roster that you saw like Molly Holly fill and Victoria fill at some point, to where they're being used to build the division around the ones who are in the title hunt right now. Like it's what Natalya had been doing the past 5 years, pretty much.
Maybe longer.
helping build around the main story. And, you know, because Becky is so well received on the main roster and she is loved with the crowd, it's helping generate interest in more than just one woman's storyline.
And at the end of the day, it's helping Becky because people are going to want Becky to win. People are going to get upset. Oh, we want Becky to win. Becky beat her ass. It's just going to elevate Becky even more. You got to help out your competitor. Like, they can't just have Dana Brooks debut and go lose to her second match to Becky Lynch. Then what the fuck is the point?
Yeah, because that's literally just killing Dana's character before it gets off the ground.
Like,
she would never recover from that.
Like,
she would, but it would take some doing.
People need to relax.
She's just that good that I feel like she would recover from it, but it would take a hot minute.
No, she's too new on the main roster, and people need to lay off like the whole, oh, where's Sasha and why is Becky losing? You guys don't forget that they were in the biggest WrestleMania women's match ever. Like, let the love spread. There's other women on the roster. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, I think they're doing a genius thing with Sasha, because when she does finally come back. No, I mean it would be a big match feel because it was Sasha Banks anyway, and we know what kind of wrestler she is. But because we hadn't seen her in so long, I mean these fans that complain about the overexposure are the same ones who are going to complain if you don't see the people. It's like, guys, just could you let the company tell a story for once?
Yeah,
just let them tell a story.
Oh my God, Brandy, you're like reading my mind. That's exactly how I feel right now, because they're actually doing a good thing. They're doing a good job. So stop the bitching. Sasha's still with the company. She's working late house shows. She's been recovering from little nagging injuries. So WWE is taking care of her. They're letting her work all these tag team matches on the live shows as they do a story with Charlotte and Natalya. And this is just going to build up Charlotte even more for people to hate her.
These same people who are complaining about Sasha not being there are the same people who are complaining about Natty not having a push. Shut up. Your girl's getting a push. Watch her. You cannot tell me that Natalya doesn't deserve this push that she's getting. And you can't tell me that it's not freaking entertaining to watch, because it is good television between those women. They were just the main event. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a piss break kind of main event. It was like a very...
Yeah, let's get into
very investing. Yeah. So, well, moving on from Dana and Becky, we had Dana winning clean, which I was very happy with. But we moved into... And I feel like on the show we don't mention the Stephanie stuff as much. Stephanie is one of the women kind of deal.
I feel like she's overexposed sometimes, that I'm just like, she has too many segments on the show that I just don't even care to talk about her, because she's there every day. If we were to talk about Stephanie every day, she'd be like the whole show, because she has so many cut scenes and backstage. Yeah. Granted, I love Stephanie McMahon. I feel like she's a great character on TV, but sometimes she's overexposed too much.
I wanted to mention this because it showed like the disconnect between her and Shane kind of deal still, you know, about the Asylum match. You know, earlier she had come out and changed the other match, and, you know, Devon and Bubba come in, and maybe it was just me, but when they said, oh, maybe a couple of small time North Carolina guys, for a brief moment in my heart, I was like, Hardy Boys? And no, it wound up being Big Cass, which is nice to see that, you know, they're still going full steam ahead with Big Cass. But that was that was the Stephanie's overall theme in this show, and has been for a little bit, is her and Shane kind of the one-upmanship kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And of course we're always going to see Stephanie, because USA, that's like one of their things, is they want Stephanie on air every Monday night.
Yeah, because she's been on the TV show for years, almost 20 years. Stephanie's been running around. Yeah. Maybe about over 15 years, definitely.
Yeah, well, and plus it's a positive reflection, because she is a woman in charge of a giant company. Mm-hmm. So
I just feel like she's on too many segments, and she's always caught up in this same cycle. But I like what they're doing now with her. She's being so fake right now, trying to act like she's good. And all this bullshit. Just buttering up Shane for Triple H's return, because they're trying to make the fans forget about Triple H until he pops up.
I haven't seen him.
Yeah.
So moving on from that little blip segment that I just wanted to mention, just because I wanted to mention that I had a small brief moment of, will the Hardys be here, Cody? We move into Kalisto versus Alberto Del Rio, where we have Rusev come out, and Lana is with him. So Miss Lana showed up on the show, and like last week I had tweeted out that I missed Lana's bun, and I missed her kind of business outfits. So it was nice to see her in kind of a more classic Lana look, but she's not acting the same. I loved that where Lana would sick Rusev. You know, I miss Rusev Crush. I miss that. She's more of a sideline character now, and I don't know if that's in an effort to build Rusev, or if that's still a part of her punishment kind of deal. But I want to see Lana more vocal and involved again, like she was in the past, and talking some trash on the mic again.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They haven't really been capitalizing on Lana and Rusev back together as much. Granted, it is nice to see them back together. I love it, and I feel that's where she belongs right now. And a lot of people want her wrestling, but I don't think everybody has to wrestle. I really don't, because like you have your Sasha Banks and Charlottes and Becky Lynch's and Paige's, and then you have your Lana and your Summer Rae and, you know, the valets. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a valet. Like, Sensational Sherry was one of the greatest ones. That's how she was most known.
I love that woman.
Being a valet.
she added so much to whatever she was in, and she wasn't even wrestling half the time.
Same with Miss Elizabeth. Like, they were known for being valets and like they're memorable characters, and Lana is on that route of becoming one of the most memorable managers because she's so damn good. She actually gets the product. And you know what, I was watching her on one of the live shows. I was watching one of her matches. They had her in the ring doing a lot of work, and I was watching the way that she moves in the ring, how she moved outside the ring. I was like, I could tell that she's been paying attention sitting out there when Rusev was wrestling, because she picks up on a lot of stuff that her fiance did in the ring, especially like when she was outside the ring, the way that she was moving, it was very Rusev like. So I was like, look at this bitch. I was like, yes, pay attention. That's how Melina became Melina, by watching the Eminem announce it.
Well, I was going to say, I've said it on the show before, several episodes ago, but Trish and Lita both discussed that's how they came to really understand how to like take their matches to another level is sitting in on the conversations with, Test and Albert and the Hardys and things of that nature, and Lita being involved with like Team RKO and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's only going to benefit them because the women, of course, are working more now, but they're still not working on the same amount of time and level as the men are. So it is good for them to see that because they can then take it back into their matches. So
Exactly.
I really enjoyed seeing Miss Lana. I want to see her return to being her evil little mouthpiece self and sicking Rusev on people.
The one thing I won't agree with you is I want her hair back down. I love her hair down. She has gorgeous hair. She shouldn't tie it up like that. I feel like I've seen enough of it. I want her hair down. I want her to be like how she looks on Instagram, to be honest.
I don't mind her hair being down. I do like her more in the business attire versus like a street attire because I feel like that's too close. Maybe it's still too reminiscent of her and Dolph for me because her and Dolph were like gag me kind of storyline. I hated that storyline.
Me too. I forgot about it until you mentioned it right now. I completely forgot about her little stint with Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm.
They throw anything at Dolph Ziggler at that point.
Oh, yeah. So, let's see. There was a rumor that Kalisto was actually injured during that little exchange with Rusev, but I haven't seen anything about the match maybe being canceled or anything, so I think we're still good to go with that. Yeah. And that might just be a work that they put out there to kind of, for him to play off of at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, the little underdog fighting through an injury with a brute.
Yeah. I think that, like, when I tweeted that about Lana and the business outfit, I tweeted it with a picture of her at WrestleMania with that white suit and the long fur and stuff. I just loved how she looked with that.
Yeah, she looked great.
Yeah. Our next female segment that we had was actually the main event, and it was the contract signing for Charlotte and Natty. And so we had, we had Stephanie out there with Shane because they have to do everything together, of course. And Stephanie goes to announce Charlotte, and Ric Flair interrupts. And of course, this is Flair country that they're in, and that's what people wanted to see. They wanted to see Ric, so he comes out and gives the big announcement that Charlotte's coming out. And oh my God, she looks so good. She looks like such a champion. Like, those pants were painted on. I was like, girl,
that's my girl.
Yep, I loved that. And I love that the little subtle, when she goes to get in the ring and Shane is standing there and she has him hold the ring ropes for her to get in. Like, just the condescending way she's like, pats her hand to be like, pull that down, please. Thank you.
Yeah, she's the queen.
She is. And, she's standing in the ring with like Stephanie, welcome to the queendom, queen of WWE. And she held her own as far as holding the spotlight with the McMahons kind of deal.
Exactly. Like, she was in the ring with 2 McMahons and her dad, and she held her own, and she carried that whole segment. That segment was all about Charlotte. And then other people are like, oh, they had to make it about Ric Flair. I'm like, that's her dad, and they're in their hometown, so obviously Ric Flair's going to have his spot, too. I don't mind it. It works, because then you know how she's trying to calm her dad down. She's like, Dad, like, calm down, relax. I like that. I like that they're not always on the same page. Like, she always has to reel her dad in.
And they're hinting at that so much more because last week there was an interview on WWE.com with Michael Cole where Flair admits that he kind of has some reservations about whether she's going to be able to do it or not. And Charlotte gets quite pissy and actually winds up leaving the interview early because of Michael Cole and his talking about how can she do this without her dad kind of deal. And so I like that. I'm not really ready for them to break them up. So I hope, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that because the way this went down, we had Natalya come to the ring and we had Rick getting all crazy and Charlotte having to calm him down kind of deal. It does seem to be hinting at discord between the two.
I think that they're going to hint it, but the Flairs are going to get it back together. And the only way I can see them disbanding is after the whole Sasha segment. When she deals with Sasha and she drops the belt to Sasha, then I can see her and Ric Flair going separate ways. But that's Ric Flair's spot. Where else are they going to put Ric Flair on the roster if him and Charlotte disband? They want Ric Flair. Ric Flair still generates ratings. People love that guy. No matter what, he's found another spot in WWE. WWE older in his career. Like, it's crazy. And he's with his daughter as a manager. So Ric Flair did full circle. Now he's back in the business. He has a new spot with his daughter. And he's on the payroll. So where else are they going to put Ric Flair if they break him up with Charlotte? So I don't see it happening anytime soon. And I don't want it to happen.
I don't either. But with the contract signing, we did see that there was an added stipulation that if he even comes down, if he appears anywhere near that match, Charlotte forfeits it. Now, that makes me wonder, like, okay, well, does that count if he is just a patron there and he has a front row seat? Does that count?
Listen, Ric Flair is going to pay somebody to go down there and help out Charlotte. They said that Rick can't do it, but they didn't say anybody else can't go down there.
That's true.
So I think it's going to be somebody else coming down there to help out Charlotte. And I'm so excited for this fucking match.
What if it was Dana Brooke? What a way to insert her in a main heel storyline.
I feel like I don't want to see her online with Charlotte. Charlotte would just swallow her up right now. Because Charlotte's just crazy over. She's everywhere. And I feel like Dana Brooks has her own spot coming up. So I wouldn't want to see that. I want to see like a male superstar or like the referee that helped them out in the last match run out and do the same shit. I hope it's the same ref. You know what I mean?
If it is the same ref, I would like to see them try to pull that and then something happen to where it doesn't go through and they get another ref, but because of the distraction, Charlotte still winds up going over, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there's no way for her to go over unless Natty taps. So it is
submission match.
It is interesting. It's good. I'm really interested to see how they're going to pull this off because, like, they did do a little hinting that there's tension between the McMahons and the Flairs, and like one of the top people to work with is Stephanie McMahon. That was the peak of Brie Bella's career. Everyone wants to work a match with Stephanie McMahon kind of deal. And so I could see Charlotte working a match with Stephanie, but I don't know if it would be beneficial for it to be with the women's title involved. It would just be like, to me, catching the women's title up in a lot of stuff that was unnecessary for the title.
I can see the Charlotte and Stephanie program happening, but not yet. I feel like that's something that they'll resurface. You know what I mean? It was just a tease, like a little. I don't think like they have plans for it yet at all, because obviously they have plans with Charlotte and Sasha coming up. So I would love to see a Charlotte and Stephanie McMahon. Are you kidding me? Anybody would.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen just yet, but maybe down the line. Because remember, we saw the AJ and Stephanie tease, and then nothing happened out of that, and then AJ ended up leaving, and blah, blah, blah. So that ain't going to happen. So who knows? Who freaking knows?
Yep.
But I'd love to see it.
Yep. We get a little action in this segment, too, with kind of Flair. They had to call the security down to the ring. Flair was getting in Shane's face, and actually it's Stephanie who wound up taking care of business and slapping Rick. And so you see, I liked that Charlotte actually went to kind of charge at Stephanie.
I love
because
that.
it does tease that more. And is very interesting. Like, I feel like if Charlotte were to when Charlotte drops the title and has her like rematches and everything like that, you might see them pick that with her and Stephanie back up, her being like, I didn't forget that you put your hands on my father, kind of deal.
Yeah, like they could have the whole segment backstage, like, don't you think I forgot? And you're the reason why the whole thing started with me, like a rift or something. And then they could carry on that way. Because after Charlotte drops that belt to whoever it is, most likely it'll be Sasha, this girl just became a star. She's a big superstar on the main roster. She draws people. When Charlotte Flair has a match, when her theme song hits, people are looking and watching. Like my cousins and brothers, they could give a fuck about the divas at the time when people were talking about it. They didn't care for it. But now when she comes up, they're like, oh, that's Flair's daughter? Everybody's heard, even though they don't keep up with wrestling now as much, they've heard of Charlotte. They're like, oh, Flair's daughter. They stop and they watch her. Because she's like a Ronda Rousey of the WWE. Yeah. So I feel like after the Sasha thing, Charlotte's going to go into another big program. And who's the biggest woman that she could work with? Stephanie McMahon. So
definitely. I have this theory And it's a picture of Charlotte when she was, she had the Divas belt, and when Seth had the World Heavyweight belt. I have a theory that the reason that the women's belt looks like it does is because they did this whole joking photo where they swapped titles, and he was holding the Divas belt and she was holding the World Heavyweight Championship, and it just looks so good on her. Like, I feel like they went, a woman could carry that title. That looks hot on them.
Yeah.
And so,
and it does. It looks
does.
great.
Charlotte makes it look good. I'm interested to see when a smaller woman gets it, like when Sasha gets it, and it just swallows her little body whole.
I mean, I think Sasha will work it out.
She will. She'll figure out something with it. It will be slightly entertaining for me to see. But, so we have the slap situation. We've got Charlotte kind of trying to go for Stephanie. There's a moment of hesitation where she's like, am I going to do this? And then she was like, hell yeah, I'm going to do this. But Natty swoops in and hits her with the sharpshooter and has her tapping. So I feel like that was a really good tease. I feel like it planted a seed in someone's head that Natty has a lot of steam going into this match, and that it seems very plausible that she could legitimately win this match. But you have to remember, Charlotte did beat Natty for that NXT title without any hijinks kind of deal. So,
but it wasn't a submission match.
Yeah, it wasn't a submission match, but she does still have a clean win over Natty.
Yeah,
to her credit, and she did it once.
She'll do it again.
She'll do it again. So that's what we had going on with Raw. Overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode of Raw.
Raw has been good the past couple of weeks. I have to give it to them.
I even enjoyed the Bootios stuff. Usually, I feel like New Day is a little bit.
Oh, the time traveling! I love that segment. I loved it.
Xavier Woods made a comment that wrestling right now is the last form of like theater in the round kind of deal. And it's really true, especially if you've ever gone to a live show or gone to a recording. You really get that feeling of, holy crap, this is a production. This is like theater. And so I enjoy those segments more now because I'm like, okay, yeah, this is for a part of the show. This is for the entertainment for the people here kind of deal. So I enjoyed Kofi referring back to 2009. I'd be like, 2009 was the best part for my career, and getting pulled back into it.
SOS.
And I love how they sneak some of the dirtiest stuff in there, like Big E being like, why is this sticky? It's like, Big E, no, you can't say that on TV. That's PG-13-ish. It's like when you watch Disney movies from when you were a kid and you go, oh my God.
You
can't believe they said that in this.
Yeah, that's funny. I love New Day.
Oh, me too. Moving onward in our wrestling week, we have TNA. And it was kind of busy for some of the female aspects of it, definitely. The first one we run into is we've got Velvet backstage, who is looking pretty good. Like, she still has the kind of ratchety kind of hair. But she looked really good. Like, I liked that look as far as Velvet Sky looks go. And you have her meeting up with Allie, which we know is on the Independents was Cherry Bomb.
Well, that's the look I like. I think Allie looks amazing. And I saw a picture of her because I haven't watched TNA, but I saw little clips and stuff of what's been going on. And I know Velvet had our last match or something like that.
Yeah, but, it was.
What was that?
It was her quote unquote last match, because there's a lot of speculation about where Velvet's going from here. Diva Dirt actually has a rumor mill thing up where that tournament that the WWE is thinking about doing for the women's wrestling, Velvet will be in it, which it's understandable. She is with Bubba Ray Dudley, so, and he has been pulling so hard to get her on WWE programming. So we've got Cherry in that as Allie, and she's just giggly. She's Maria's assistant, pretty much, like her apprentice, and she's got Maria on the phone, and you see Velvet kind of like fake her out kind of deal, and I'm like, in no world would you ever really fake out Cherry Bomb. But Allie even makes like the little reference to her old Independence name, because she goes, isn't that just a cherry? And I thought that was really cute. But yeah, so Maria via cell phone sets up the stipulation for that match, which is it'll be Velvet versus Sienna for Velvet's career kind of deal. And, we have a few more segments happen, but really we just get right into that match. And I have the same stuff to say about Sienna that I did. I hate the fact that because she is supposed to be a powerhouse, she has this strange monster walk, because she doesn't look like a monster to me. Like, she's not that much bigger than I mean, it makes sense for Nia Jax to have like a monstrous walk to her because she is much bigger than the other girls. But like Sienna's not, you
See,
know.
when it comes to Nia, like you said, Nia pulls it off. She pulls
Mhm.
it off. The thing with Sienna is she doesn't. I know this girl's have she has all this experience in the indie route and people love her. Blah 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 blah. She has her stripes, her badges. But girl, when you don't have stage presence, you don't have stage presence. I'm sorry. When I see her in the ring, she's slow, she's sloppy, she has the monster arms. I can't stand that.
The
And
claw hands like Brie
yeah,
Bella. I can't do it.
it's so annoying. It irks me. Like it's not realistic to me. I feel like it's too pretend. And I feel like this is not the type of woman she is. It's just like TNA, you're
It's not.
overbooking. You want a monstrous heel, but if that's what you wanted, why'd you hire her? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's like there are so many women that they've had in TNA that could fill that role. So Alpha Female, for instance, she was in TNA, and I would believe the monstery stuff from her more than I do like the Allison, because she comes out, or well, she's Sienna here. She comes out and her outfit is relatively feminine. There's lace on it and
Yeah, it's
things
like
like
a
that.
Beyonce dress. Like that's where she got it from. Like
Yeah.
this is Beyonce inspired.
Yeah. And so we have Velvet Rally a few times in this match. She did what I noticed is because I'm very hard on Velvet Sky. But I know she bumped really well in this match. She had some good comebacks in this match. She looked good for her final match. You know, she was supposed to be getting completely obliterated, but she did have some good offense kind of deal. And of course, Sienna wins clean against her. There was no trickery going on. Maria didn't come out, which then meant that Velvet had to retire. And you do get like a little backstage package with Velvet that felt very honest and very open and non-scripted, where she's talking about how TNA is her home and she loves all the people there, and she was thanking everyone for allowing her to chase her dream kind of deal. So I mean, it was a really sweet segment, and I felt like it was breaking kayfabe a bit. And so now I'm interested to see where she'll
good
go.
for her. I'm glad that she finally cut the cord and she's leaving TNA because there's nothing there for you anymore, Velvet. You've done all you can possibly do with TNA. She really has.
Right now, TNA is building a new women's division where they took out Gail Kim. She's not a main player right now. She's kind of on the sideline.
Oh,
and
she'll
now
be back.
Velvet's gone. And, the Dollhouse disbanded. So TNA is in an overhaul, and Maria is actually leading this new, you've had like 2 new debuts because of Maria and her, new vision for the Knockouts division. The only other thing we have is we have Maria out there with Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett comes out, and he's talking about how he's going to fight a Hall of Famer, a TNA Hall of Famer. And so it's not Sting, it's not anyone like that. It winds up being Earl Hebner. He decides he's going to have a little match with Earl Hebner, which you actually see Hebner kick out. Mike does something, but he takes too long showboating about it and forcing the ref to count to where Hebner does kick out, and then he gets all mad like only Earl Hebner can do, rips his shirt off and throws it at Maria, and like him and Maria are kind of getting into it, and he tries to.
What built this match? Why did they have this match?
I don't even know.
Was it a random?
It was literally a random. It was Mike Bennett coming out and being like, "I'm going to be the Hall of Famer tonight."
They're so stupid.
And I don't really understand. It seemed like a stupid segment to have, but it's TNA. It was humorous. I guess it was for comedic value and to just build the heel factor on the Miracle, because Mike, of course, does pick up the win. He
didn't have to have a match with him. He could have just had a segment where he attacked him. That's what I'm saying. Like TNA to put a guy that's a non-wrestler in a wrestling match, like that's so desperate and cheap.
It is stupid. And like Mike Bennett is a good wrestler.
That's what I'm saying. Like he shouldn't be rolling around with Earl Hebner. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was. They went for the power play angle, and like, can I just say, I freaking hate Josh Matthews. Like, he is the worst announcer, I feel like.
I feel like he doesn't even want to be there.
I feel like he doesn't either. One thing that he talks about other crap in the middle of people's matches, and it pisses me off to no end. I'm like, call your match. your job is, you're a hype man right now. Call your match. Like, stop talking about whatever, these two dudes locking it up later tonight when you've got such a important match. Like, this is Velvet's career on the line. Stop, hype this match. It's a good match. It's got a good little story arc to it. Hype the match. And WWE used to be just as bad with talking during women's matches and not hyping the match. And so that's pretty much what Josh Matthews does the entire show. He's probably the worst commentator out of all of the major companies, kind of deal.
I'm not crazy about him.
I've never been. I remember rooting for him on Tough Enough.
Yeah, me
but
too.
After that, I just didn't care about him as an announcer.
Me either.
All right. So, did you watch NXT?
Yes, Queen.
Okay. Yes, Queen. Yeah.
I loved it.
I did too. I really liked I didn't necessarily like the Hellstorm song they chose because I feel like Asuka's song is so perfect for her. They should have just used her music in the package.
Didn't they use that song before for something else? Probably.
It's a stupid song. It's not a very good band.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And I love my alternative bands and my punk rock bands. Like I haven't even mentioned this on the show. Fucking what's the next pay-per-view? Extreme Rules?
Uh-huh.
Paris Fire? I love that fucking band. And my girl Zara put me on to Paris, and I fucking love them. And WWE has them as one of their theme songs. So this is really, really big for Paris, and they're really excited. Because they're an up-and-coming band, and they're from like 30 minutes away from me. They live like 30 minutes away from me.
Well, WWE, I remember being young, and a lot of the bands I wound up loving as a young adult and a teenager is because I heard their tune as a theme song for one of the wrestling pay-per-views or on the show.
Like, my friends asked me, they're like, James, why are you into rock so much? Like, how did you ever get into rock? I was like, wrestling. It was wrestling. I don't know how else to go around it. Wrestling got me into it.
Yeah. And sometimes WWE usually hits it pretty well with rock, and I think that rock music, because I think Jim Johnston was a big rock fan, or Jim Johnson is his name, the guy that did all the themes before, and he did a lot of rocking ones, especially in the Attitude Era. Now they have CFO, who sometimes when CFO hits, they hit it big, but sometimes the music they make, I'm like, guys, seriously? For instance, one of the ones that I loved it when they did it was when they remixed Emma's music the first time we heard it remixed. I was like, oh my god, that is awesome. Flawless. I would have never thought to take in this bubbly bubblegum music and make it such a badass mix, but I love how they did that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have the package with Asuka, which I think is a good idea because it keeps her present. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's lack of like a big storyline brewing, but Asuka, for some reason, I don't feel like she's getting as much fanfare with her title reign as the previous champs have. Like, she doesn't seem to be getting as much airtime as the other champs. I feel like Bayley still gets a lot more airtime.
Well, if you look back at the time when Bayley picked up the championship, we didn't see her on NXT for a couple of weeks because, NXT is like a pre-recorded show. And then they have to build up the next guy, or the next woman to take up the champion. So, and it's an hour show. So I feel like Asuka had her moment and she beat Bayley. And on top of that, she beat Bayley, the biggest baby face in wrestling history, in a good time. So people are not going to be as accepting of that. Yeah. Like, their hero lost. So
true, but they have the ability now to where they record the shows, obviously, and then they do their packages separately, like their backstage interviews and stuff. And they've consistently had Bayley interviews and stuff since Bayley lost the title. They should really have been, in my opinion, kind of plugging it more with Asuka, because they would have been able to film that after her winning and then inject it in those shows that may have been recorded before she lost or won the title.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the package was a great idea to keep Asuka fresh in your mind and to have like a highlight reel of that. And so next week I would really like to see them have a little interview with her, which I don't know how well Asuka speaks English.
Yeah, you don't know how well her English is. I don't know, she speaks broken English. I heard her say a couple of things here and there. Nothing ever crazy, but she's on social media chatting around, but then again, that could be anybody.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm pretty sure it's her. Asuka is a very interesting character because she also works for Xbox. Like she
Really?
writes for Xbox. Yeah, she does. Asuka does a lot of crazy stuff. But anyway, so we had the Asuka package as the first thing, like mentioning to the women, and then we had Miss Carmella, and a little thing with her backstage where she's talking about Enzo's injury and how she's proud of Big Cass, but and she reaffirmed to everyone that her dream that she's chasing in NXT is the NXT Women's Championship.
Mm-hmm. I like that segment, and I think it was definitely needed. They needed to explain why the hell she's not up with her boys. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then she said that they're chasing their dreams, and she still hasn't got to her dream yet. But I'm like, well, Enzo and Cass didn't either. They didn't become NXT Tag Team Champions, but I won't reach too far in. I was like, whatever. But I loved her hat. Her hat was cute as hell. I'm glad that she listened and dropped that cheetah print nonsense on her face because Charlotte already does something similar.
I liked her little track pants too. She takes them off, but they were really cute with her entrance.
I think it fits. It works for her. Carmella found her look. Period. She found her look. I love the hat with the crown. I love even the little armband. I was just like, yes,
her little C with the crown. Yeah.
Yeah, like she didn't need the cheetah print on her face. She really didn't. So I'm glad that she dropped that. And I'm glad that she dropped the whole fucking Bye Felicia nonsense that she was doing early in her career.
Yep. So we have Carmella, and she's going up against Peyton Royce, which is the first time we've seen Peyton on TV in a hot minute. And I know a lot of people are really liking Peyton's character, but it makes me cringe to watch her because I feel like her costuming is terrible. The flower bothers me. It's just too much for me. I'm like, oh, no.
You got to see her on a live show. That's all I got to say because I seen her at a live show and she fucking killed it. Killed it. And she had a match with Asuka. It was so good. It was like main event worthy. Like the way that she was wrestling Asuka, she got a "That's so perfect" chant. She was just on fire. So
maybe this was recorded before all that. Then I just can't. One of the things that really bothers me, and I know it's nitpicking, but it just does. She wears these baggy knee pads, and then the traditional wrestling boot. And I had that dislike with Emma too. For me, something like when Emma used to wear the crisscrossy outfit when she was face, something about the knee pads and her boots, I just hated them. And so when she started wearing the lower cut ones and her knee pads started reflecting the rest of her outfit, I really liked that. Which Peyton's knee pads do reflect the same crappy material. I hate that outfit. It feels like a cheap Halloween costume to me. And I'm like, she comes out and she does this strut and she's got her hair slicked back. It's a really sexy look. And I feel like she could benefit from kind of making her attire a bit more sexy.
True. I don't like that new gear that she was wearing at all. I don't like it. It looks like a Christmas tree. I'm not feeling it. But other than that, I like Peyton. But does she need some work? Yeah. Do they need it? I think NXT needs to really let their viewers know exactly what her character is. She needs to have backstage segments. I already pitched an idea for them. Remember Poison Ivy and Batman Forever when she was sitting inside that big old plant bullshit and then she's just sitting over there just talking? I feel like they should do something like that. Just have a room full of greenery or even film her in a green room or a greenhouse somewhere with a lot of plants and flowers and the Venus flytrap in the background. There's so much they can do with Peyton Royce that they're just not doing. That's why I'm like, get it together. And I think that's probably part of your frustration, Brandy, with them.
I just had a really interesting thought. Okay, Peyton does this thing where she has him in the ropes kind of deal and does a submission. Mm-hmm. And that always makes me think of Tajiri and how Tajiri and Great Muta did the mist. That would be interesting to see her do the mist since she's doing this whole Poison Ivy.
It would be cool.
Flower kind of deal. I would be interested to see that. But it was a good match. Peyton had some really decent kicks in there, and she did that combo with the suplexes that I thought was beautiful.
Yeah, she did that on the live show, and everybody was like, "Holy shit, that was perfect!" Like the way that she just hit Asuka with it was insane. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it looked really good, and I was like, keep that, but please don't overuse that because that is so hot. Please do not overuse it. But it looked really good, and then of course Carmella wins the match with her. What is she calling that submission?
Oh, I forget what she calls it.
I'm not sure. It's the announcers called it a modified triangle hold, if I'm not mistaken. But I like it because it looks nasty. Because she has to reach back for that leg, and then she cranks it down, and it just looks. You just feel like your throat close up when she does it, kind of deal.
It's cool. I like it.
It is really cool,
and I really love how she applies it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Carmella still has some kinks to work out in the ring. Her punches could definitely use some help, and a little bit of timing issues here and there, but they're on their way to building her to be another big baby face down there. At this point in time, I don't see her anywhere near the level of Asuka kind of deal. Like, I feel like Nia and Bayley are the two that are really going up for that title and like on the Asuka level, and I feel like those two are perfect. And then you've got Carmella down there working her butt off and having good matches. Alexa Bliss is just growing every week, just leaps and bounds kind of deal. And I forgot to write that down. I forgot to mention that we saw her.
Oh, with Blake and Murphy.
Yeah, Blake and Murphy. And I think that is actually it for them. I'm pretty sure they're disbanding after this because Alexa walked out on him, and then Murphy walked out on Blake, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm kind of sad. I didn't want to see that happen.
I didn't want to see those two break up. And I didn't necessarily want to see Alexa leave them either. I feel like WWE feels like that's what they have to do to begin to push.
I feel like they see more for Alexa.
Yeah, but Alexa can still be a valet and be a strong contender. Like, Lita was the most popular women's wrestler and still in Team Extreme kind of deal. So she still had an awesome singles career with a managerial role as well. So it can be done, and it can be done successfully. So I didn't want to see them break them up, and it makes me worry about what will happen for Blake and Murphy kind of deal. Because right now, Enzo and Cass have gone up. Blake and Murphy are really the oldest tag team down there. Mm-hmm. And they've just been on losing streak after losing streak. But Miss Alexa has been on winning streak after winning streak. Like, I was reading an article where I was listening to Solomonster, and he was making jokes about how she's the Legends daughter killer kind of deal because she keeps beating all these Legends kids.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome for Miss Bliss. And it looks like they're building her up because she had all these wins lately. So they're building up Alexa for something.
Yeah.
We just have to wait and see.
Yeah. What I think that's what's going to have to happen for both her and Carmella to really kind of bring it up to that next level is they're going to have to get their pacing and timing a little faster. I mean, it's important for them to have resting moments and stuff. You don't want just big move, big move, big move, because that just burns everybody out. But I'd also like to see them add more dimension in their move set, like different moves thrown in, more signature moves thrown in, I guess. But yeah, those two I feel like are really on their way up with NXT. So after that, we have the main event, because it is totally common for women to main event NXT now, and that was the rematch grudge match of Nia versus Bayley.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match, and again, we talked about this last time with how they film Nia's entrance now.
Love it.
That it is just perfect. It is spot on, the best thing that they could have done for her kind of deal, because it makes her feel larger than life. And I love it. I love it. So we have kind of like in this match, it was really similar in some ways in the feel of Nia versus Bayley at London, right? That's where they had it.
London? At Wembley.
It was Bayley like trying to throw all these wrestling moves and just getting outpowered. A lot of Bayley dodging out of the way and capitalizing on throwing Nia off balance. And then we saw Bayley go for that guillotine and get swatted the fuck off. Just, I love that. I love when Nia just swats them off of something. And I forget, what was the actual finish? I mean, of course we know Nia went over.
Oh, it was Bayley. She went for a suplex and Bayley reversed it and landed on her knee. I guess she kinked up her left knee or something like that. And then Nia did the leg drop on the knee. And then she ran to the ropes and then crushed her head in with another knee drop over Bayley's head.
Yeah, and so I was proud of this match because I had made the comment before that I really wish that that Asuka had lost once to Bayley, so it would be a more even playing ground for Nia versus Asuka. But now, Nia has that one up on Bayley kind of deal, which, you could argue, oh, well, her confidence is shaken from having lost her title to Asuka and everything of that nature. But I thought this was a really good match. Again, it was like a David and Goliath kind of match, which is what you get pretty much when you have Nia going up against anyone. It's one average-sized person trying to fell this beast kind of deal. But they did play up that whole thing where Bayley's knee was injured to take her off for a little bit. But we at least know that she'll be back in 3 weeks because they had announced that it's Bayley versus Asuka at TakeOver.
What? It's Bayley and Asuka at TakeOver?
Yeah.
When did they announce that?
Last week.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the full card for TakeOver is out.
That doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
I don't know if that card has been leaked or if WWE put it out, but yeah, it's supposed to be out. I'll Google it real quick.
That's bullshit. Then what the fuck was the point of Nia beating Bayley? That shit better be. I think it's a fake.
I hope so. I'll do some Googling real quick to figure out.
Well, I think it's great that Nia beat Bayley. I feel like it's appropriate because mind you, let me just back up a bit. I think that was Nia's best showing in her whole career to date. Like, that was her best match to date. It was great. They had spots outside. I love when Bayley came for the Hurricane Rana through the bottom rope and she Hurricane Rana Nia right outside. I thought the passion was there from both of the women. It was impactful. Nia was just beating the crap out of Bayley, and the way that Bayley sells the beating is just on freaking point. I thought the match was flawless. Flawless. And the whole time I was watching the match, I was just like, are they going to give this one to Nia? Are they finally going to give Nia one? Give her this match. Give her this match. And they gave it to Nia, and I was shocked. Especially when Bayley's knee started kinking up. And I loved the way Bayley sold for Nia. I was just like, this is why people love Bayley. Because Bayley's all about the wrestling. She's putting everybody else over. She made Nia look like a beast in that ring. The way that she was hitting the turnbuckles and bumping for Nia was on point. But I loved the finish. I thought the finish was great. I loved how Nia dissected her. She took out the leg and then she crushed her head in and pinned her. Nia was not playing any games. Nia wants to be the NXT Women's Champion, and it was believable. So I freaking loved that match. I thought it was amazing. It was a great NXT Women's match, and I'm glad it was the main event, as it should be.
Now I'm not finding anything to do with that. But no, I saw that and I thought it was, we still have 3 weeks leading up to TakeOver. So if that was a spoiler leak that I saw, I had taken it to be like an official announcement kind of deal. But I just saw it in passing and I thought I saw it from WWE, so I took it seriously. But I mean, we still have 3 weeks of story. So it could be that, maybe if it is set up like that, maybe it's something to do with Bayley's rematch clause or something like that. I wouldn't hate a triple threat.
Maybe it was a live show. Maybe it's something like when they're, like the week prior or something. You might have seen them posting something for a live show, and it's going to be the rematch of Asuka just to get people there. So that's what I can see. But when Nia picking up a big win like that on TV to become,
it's for her not to.
Yeah,
of course. At the same time, you also have Bayley should have a built-in rematch clause.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's what it is. What you saw was her rematch clause, which will probably be at another taping or live. I don't know. We don't know. Who knows? Maybe I don't know what they're doing. I don't know.
We'll figure it out when we get closer to time. Perhaps next week we'll have more clarification on that.
I hope so, because Nia better have that spot. That's her spot.
Yes.
It wouldn't make any fucking sense.
Yep. Okay, well, that is it for like programming that we've had thus far this week. I do have some news I want to mention. First of all, because we're saving Lucha for the end. WWE and NXT news. Okay, we've got a Nikki Storm interview on WWE.com where she talks about just what it's like, what her WWE tryout was like, and they ask her about like traveling all around and wrestling in all these different countries, and she talks about how it helps you grow, it helps your wrestling grow, it helps you as a person grow, kind of deal. They actually ask about like what her goals are, and of course she said the NXT Women's Championship, the Women's Championship, but then she mentioned tag team titles, and I was like,
"Girl, let it go."
Yeah,
tag team titles are not going to happen for the women's division, not anytime now. Like, they just started taking women seriously, and we've seen enough women tag team matches, and there was no tag team title involved, that I'm just so over it. I'll be okay if I don't see another women's tag team match, because we've seen so many.
Yep. And she mentions in her match that Becky Lynch is her dream opponent, and I think that would be a wonderful match to see. It would be interesting. It'll be a long time coming, because Nikki's yet to even be on television that I'm aware of, kind of deal. But so that's kind of what's going on with her. If you want to read that, I do have the link, and so we can put it in the description below if you want to read and get to know Nikki Storm a little bit better. The best in the galaxy, soon to be the best in the universe, kind of deal.
Is that what she calls herself?
Yeah, on the Independence, she's called herself the best in the galaxy, and then in her interview, she remarks that it'll soon be the best in the universe. Makes sense, WWE universe.
Yeah, I like it. It's cute. Good for you finding something.
Yep. Another interview we have, which is actually on Forbes.com, is Forbes did an interview with Sexy Star after her Namas match.
Ooh.
Yeah, and so Sexy Star, she talks about doing intergender matches, earning the respect of the fans, and how Lucha Underground has been so behind her and the other women. And so they're, the women on Lucha Underground are not treated like women in TNA and women in WWE. They are integrated with the men.
No, they're all treated the same.
Yeah. That's why one of the women, there was a medallion for the women to fight for, kind of deal, to be in the big championship match. So that'll be in the links below. There's so many links below, because moving forward, I have more women to talk about, and there'll be links below regarding them. But so we know that WWE has signed a bunch of people. They signed Nikki and stuff of that nature. And a link that I've got to provide is to like a video of all of the ones that they had previously already signed, because they've had a recent tryout just a couple days ago. And so this is from the previous, where there's a video package that kind of introduces you. You get introduced to Nikki. You get introduced to another lady. I can't remember her name, but she was like a fitness model kind of deal and had won a bunch of competitions and stuff. So a link to that video will be down there from WWE.com. And another video is from the recent tryouts that they've had. And they had those tryouts either like today or yesterday. I mean, it's been recent. And there was a whole class of people, but there were 9 women. And I didn't recognize a lot of them, and I didn't really have the time to get in depth and try to figure out who they were, because they're in plain clothes versus being in what we would have maybe seen them in on the Independence. But there was... Do you remember when they did Tough Enough, there was an Asian girl named Ashley, who she had the heart problem? She was back for the tryout, and I guess, like... maybe she's on some new medication or something, but she, I guess, passed through the physical enough to actually be able to try out. So she was listed as a prospect of someone they wanted to hire, kind of deal. And there was another girl on there that was Asian who was gorgeous. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope she's a decent prospect, because she's got the look for it. She is beautiful. And then there was another woman. I'm not sure... Her name is like Arkady, so I don't know if it's Arcady or something like that. But she was a bikini competitor, but she's been training with Kendrick. So she's got some previous wrestling training in, and those were the two women that I saw that they had talked about had a good chance of being signed and being at the performance center. So there'll be a link provided for that, so where you can go, because it's a good 15-minute video of just watching them do drills and stuff like that. So I always am interested to see the training aspect.
And WWE posted up this link?
Yeah, it's on WWE.com.
You see, this is something that they should post on the network, is tryouts. Have a TV show called WWE Tryouts, like, instead of posting it on .com, WWE. Come on, guys.
Yeah, because you definitely have to, like, work in comparison of, you have to scour that website, but then you also kind of have to scour Diva Dirt and find out what's going on. So that's with that.
That's what SportsCenter do. Like, before they have the drafts and stuff like that, they show all these tryouts where the guys run, they jump, see how fast they are, how much they can lift, and fucking sports fanatics live for that shit.
Oh yeah, and
they don't think that wrestling fans will live for that shit. We will eat it up and shit it out. Like, I mean,
these people are competitors and athletes. Like, it's not just you have to be an athlete to succeed in the WWE now. It's not just any guy at a independent show can roll up on WWE and have a match. Like, even the dark matches are people who have been training and are incredibly athletic. It's a whole new caliber of athlete that you have to be. And like, WWE they make comments and stuff that makes you feel like that's what they're trying to push, is that you understand that these guys and girls, they're athletes. So that would be a great way to help showcase that, to see.
Exactly. It'll bring in money if you're gonna put up stuff like that, and people are gonna be interested. They're gonna want to sign up to the network, and they're gonna want to watch something like this. They're gonna want to watch tryouts and see, oh, I remember when this person tried out, and now they're world heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? So just do it up. It is the reality era.
I wish that WWE would put some of the old FCW shows on the network, because I would love to see, like, Roman and Seth and all of, like, the guys that are considered the top right now. I'd love to see them, like, down in FCW.
That's another thing, like, they need to stop posting up, is all the tournaments that are coming up. They have all these tournaments, and I know a lot of the podcasts have talked about, there's rumors that WWE might be opening their doors to start airing other promotions on the network and just churning into a wrestling network. Like, I'm like, duh! It's 2016, WWE, embrace it. Charge these companies a shitload of money to air what they want to air on the network. People will throw money at the network for that shit.
Oh yeah,
are you kidding me?
You'll even get the smart marks
exactly.
At that point, being like, oh, I want to watch Evolve. I want to
Wrestle
for
Kingdom.
Women's wrestling fan, like, for instance, WSU, which is a part of CZW, they have their own, like, subscription thing. Buy that out and put WSU shows on the network.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know, like, I love WSU, but I really don't want to spend an extra $10 a month to have not only their programming, but WWE, especially when I can go and just, like, watch it on Daily Motion. WWE, they can kind of shield their product better because they are such a mammoth company kind of deal. So they can shield their copyright better. Whereas, like, for me, these little places having the pay-to-play stuff, it doesn't make any sense, because someone's just going to download it and upload it to another website, and those companies aren't going to have the money or the resources to go after all those places.
I think it's going to happen. I think it's definitely going to happen with Evolve. And I think it's going to happen with Ring of Honor at some point. They're going to sign a deal with Ring of Honor. Because, come on, if you look at WWE right now, all the top guys are Ring of Honor guys.
Oh, yeah.
So, all WWE needs to do right now is just, or Ring of Honor, somebody needs to fucking just apologize or whatever it is, or agree with, and just go with the flow and start getting this money. Because people are going to throw money at it. People want to see wrestling. And I think Triple H is broad on the idea. We spoke a little bit about it on the last show. I really do believe that something like this is going to happen. It won't be too far-fetched if it happens nowadays.
I'm anticipating it at this point.
Especially with the network. The network just opened a whole new gate for wrestling. And they need to realize that. They need to capitalize in it. That's what they need to do.
Yeah, they got to make their money for that because that was an expensive endeavor for WWE to take on. Because if you think about it, they've had to change a lot of things. Like, for instance, CM Punk in his Colt Cabana interview, a lot of the top guys at the time when the network was just about to launch was asking, like, okay, well, how is this going to affect our pay for these pay-per-view matches now that someone can buy it for $10 versus buying it for $60 kind of deal? And so any way to help keep that thing alive and keep revenue coming into it is only going to be a plus, and it'll be a plus for wrestling fans. Please start taking care of your wrestling fans. We have money. We will buy your product if you give us product to buy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of other things on the network, we had the Table for Three.
Yes.
The Millennium Divas, which is our second Table for Three with Molly Holly.
I feel like they forgot that they had Molly on there because I was like, this should have been a spot for somebody else. Like, as much as I love Molly, I don't categorize her with Candice Michelle and Michelle McCool.
No, I don't consider her a Millennium Diva. Like, she was just with the Attitude Era women.
Yeah, I feel like that was a spot. Like, they should have had Vicky Guerrero in there, or Beth Phoenix, because Beth Phoenix was there, or who else? Who else can I say? No, I'll go with Beth Phoenix. Yeah.
Melina, if she hadn't burned all these bridges, would have been good for the Millennium Divas.
Or Mickie James.
Yeah, for real.
Mickie James would have been perfect.
I don't think Mickie is tied down to any company right now. I know like the last she was doing was with MCW, so she could have had like a little guest appearance kind of deal. But anyway, so we get Table for Three. Which, and really, did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Candice had a lot to say.
And she had a lot to say, but she wasn't saying anything. That's how I felt. Like I felt like her little stories were kind of like lackluster, to say the least. Yeah. And I love Candice Michelle. I just feel like she did have a lot to say, but it was not anything important. I'd rather hear her talk more about her being a mom right now.
I wanted to hear more from Michelle McCool.
Yeah, me too.
I understand that Candice got much better in her career later on, but to me, I never saw her as a big player. But Michelle McCool is someone I felt like got up there, kind of deal. And so Michelle McCool had some good matches. She mentioned a little bit about the table match and stuff like that. And who else could have been on that instead of Molly Holly was Layla.
Yeah, or Layla.
It would have been awesome to have a Lay Cool reunion.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the stories that would have come of that? It was interesting. I would have liked to have heard Michelle maybe talk about Taker a little bit, maybe how they met or whatever. I mean, she does acknowledge that that they're married.
She was afraid to meet him. She said that he was the only one.
Really,
she said the only guy that I was afraid to meet was Undertaker. And that's the guy she ended up marrying.
I can understand. But, there's all these reports. You rarely hear anyone ever have a negative thing to say about Undertaker backstage. He's usually known as the most, peaceful, hey, dude, let's just do it. In fact, one of the only stories I have heard about him where he got up in someone's face about something was there was a match with him, someone else, and Bret Hart. And Bret Hart was just being a jerk about some things like, no, that's going to make me look weak. No, I'm not going to do this. And Undertaker just got so fed up with him. He slammed his hands down and stood up. He's like, it's not always about you, mother. And I'm like, oh my God, I would have shit myself. Even if I was Bret Hart to see Undertaker stand up and call me a motherfucking
shithead.
This giant ginger is going to kill me.
I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought the table for three was good. But there was no need for Molly Holly. We already had her. But I feel like WWE wanted to give her another opportunity to speak because last time Ivory and Medusa overshadowed her. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they just forgot that they invited her to come on the show. Because then again, it is WWE. They're
Medusa owned that show when she was on it.
That is TPP's godmother.
I love that
She gave us a cute little retweet this week. I love her. She always supports us. And back in the day, she told us, when we tried to go PG, she said, cut that shit out. And she was like, be you. I
love her.
And do you. And that's exactly what we're doing.
I love that she took her opportunity at the Hall of Fame to say, this is the women's belt. Mm-hmm. That's what a belt should look like. I thought that was such a huge person to be like, hey, women's wrestling. I was like, oh, Medusa with the shade to the Divas.
Always. Well, it's true, though.
It is true. And when you have someone of that caliber and that historical significance saying it, it's okay, it's time. It's time to listen to it kind of deal. Not to mention, like, during the Divas, especially towards the end of it, the Divas belt reign, Lance Storm was hilarious on Twitter about that belt and how terrible it was, and like about how it was a euphemism. I can't even speak. How it was pretty much a symbol for like female genitalia kind of deal. He's like, that's what the butterfly belt, blah blah blah. It's just a dig at women wrestling, and I was like, oh my gosh, Lance Storm getting up on a pedestal about some stuff, but. Yeah, which I liked this table for three. It was okay. It's not been my favorite. Like I said, I would have liked to have seen Layla or Beth, like you said. I would have really liked to see Beth because Beth Phoenix is someone who has had some stuff happen since she left, like 2 children kind of deal.
Yeah, I think she'd be great. The next one I want to see with Trish, Lita, and Victoria.
Yes.
That's the one I want. That would be a good one. That would be probably the highest rated one.
Mm-hmm. Which I think that they're holding off on having Trish and Lita do anything together because they're in the past, like the past year or so, Lita had mentioned maybe her and Trish having a show
on the
network.
Yeah.
So I think like maybe they're
trying to come up with something.
That.
I think they're probably trying to find. It's all about timing right now. So I think they're trying to figure out like what they're gonna do with Trish and Lita on the network.
Do you know? I would like to see Jazz, Jacqueline, and Alicia Fox together and talk about what it meant to them to be like African American women champions. I think that would be really cool, and I think those two would have a really cool conversation.
Yeah, I love it.
You know,
Jacqueline would be a good one too.
Yeah. Well, we say that, but I wasn't really too taken with her Hall of Fame speech. But that was so giving a giant speech. This would be sitting around a table chatting with people.
Yeah, like I want to see her like that, and then in that environment having dinner. And that dinner that they give them is so cheap. I'm like, what are they eating? Salad? Like, what is this?
Candice Michelle had a Diet Coke.
It's catering. It's just, and I love how WWE sets it up like it's a restaurant, but it's just they're backstage somewhere and catering.
Yeah. And it probably is just the catering. I'm flashed back to like Nikki Bella and Brie Bella being afraid to eat the chicken because they don't know where it's from, kind of deal. God. That episode of Total Divas. But yeah, so that was really it for Table for Three. Not really too much substance to it, just kind of chit-chatting. I did like that Molly brought up Spike Dudley and their cute little romance that they had, kind of deal.
No, yeah, that she had fun doing that. And yeah. I liked how Candice talked about her injuries and she brought up injuries. I thought that was good because she had a big injury. And I think that was the biggest setback in her career. That's when Candice kind of lost the ball a bit, is when she got injured. And it was so unfortunate. I remember when she got injured, I cringed. It was crazy.
Oh, because it knocked her out from what I understood that she said on the network. Is it knocked her out for a little bit?
Oh, clean. It was obvious that she was knocked out.
And Michelle McCool just cringing, talking about her hands and everything. Like, you could tell Michelle watched that over and over.
But she did say that was her favorite match.
Mm-hmm.
She said that was her favorite match ever. And I'm like, yeah, I can see why. It was a great match. Like, come on, three out of, what was it? Like a 2 out of 3 pinfall match. It was on it was on Monday Night Raw. It was for the Women's Championship. It was a big match for her. And for her to go down like that at that match, like, it just sucked. It sucked for her. And my heart went out for her. Kind of like how the whole Emma deal happened for me. I just felt bad for Candice because she finally, like, reached the level that she hasn't been on. And she was doing really good, and then for her to get injured like that, it was crazy. And it was like scary, like career ending, because we didn't know what was gonna happen with Candice after that fucking spill. It was nasty.
She also brings up how the wand came about.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I take that back. Candice did had some good stories that she talked about how Fit Finlay did not like her wand. He thought it was corny, and then when he showed up.
I love that it was her answer to Triple H's sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Triple H is a sledgehammer. I'm going to get a wand, plastic wand. And like his daughter loved it, and he had to kind of cower and ask for it.
He's like, "Can you sign this for me? My daughter loved it." And then she goes, "Yay! The wand is over." I like that.
Yeah,
it was cute. So Candice was fun. It was
she
good.
Talked a little bit about traveling with Victoria and stuff of that nature.
Yeah, and then she said
Victoria in the bathtub.
Yeah, she said that Victoria would never hurt a fly. She's nothing like her character. It's crazy. And I can see that in Victoria. I can see that Candice. You know who else I would like to see? Victoria, Candice, and Tori, TLC. I think that would be a good one.
That would be a good one. That would be really entertaining. I would like to just see Tori Wilson again, or maybe even have Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler kind of deal.
Oh, that would be a good one. Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler, and maybe even Trish and something like that.
Yeah.
Trish was pretty much involved with them.
Yeah, because like they were kind of touted at that time as like these 3 blonde bombshells kind of deal.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see them. So that kind of wraps it up for WWE stuff, but there is huge things happening on the independent circuit right now. And so this will probably be the time that the listeners will, as we speak, kind of want to look in the description box for links, because when I was reading about this and seeing what all went into it, I realized that the casual wrestling fan is not going to know who half of these women are, because I didn't even know how some of these women. So I went and found videos on YouTube and provided links for all of them, for all the ones I could find. Some of these girls are so new on the independent scene, they don't even have videos on YouTube yet. Mm-hmm. So as many as I could, I think there's like 17 links at this point to different women. But what we have going on the indies is we have something, it's like the Star tournament kind of deal. And what that is it's a best of the indies kind of deal. Like there's all these different women's champions coming together to be on this show. And it's not just a one-time show. They're going to have dates in Spain, England, Germany, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, and a show in the U.S. So I just went based off of the UK card because that was the only card I could find. And so you're going to have Christy Love, who is a wrestler from Scotland, and she's going to be going up against the high-speed champ Mayu. What is Mayu's name? Let me look real quick. Her name is Mayu Iwatani, something like that. I had no idea who she was, so I watched this match that I posted, and my God, she's good. I would be very interested to see that match kind of deal. But Mayu is the high-speed champ, and she's from Japan. So you've got Christy Love representing Scotland, and then Mayu representing Japan.
Is this all international?
Mm-hmm.
So they're all coming from different parts of the world, and they're going to compete, right?
Yeah, it's a huge tournament. Yeah.
So where is this going to be aired on?
This one is going to be in England. This particular card. I don't know the cards for the other ones, but this one is the UK card that's released. Let's see. There's going to be an English wrestler named Danielle Hunter, who's going to be going up against the Wonder of Stardom champ Santana Garrett. So we'll see Santana Garrett at this. I didn't include a link to her because if you watch NXT, you've seen her kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Here is an interesting women's wrestling promotion that I just became aware of today, and it's called British Empire Wrestling. And they have a pretty decent women's division. So their champion, her name is Nixon Newell, and she's from Wales. She's going to be going up against Alpha Female, who's going to be representing Germany. So that's interesting because that's England versus Germany. And I watched Nixon's matches, and I provided the link below. She's good as well. A woman named Dragonita from Spain will be against the WWS Mexico champ, and that is Diosa Atina. She's from Mexico, so Spain versus Mexico in that. You've got an interpromotional tag match, and that's going to be it's Toni Storm and Dahlia Black, and they're known as the Guardians of the Empire, and they're going to be going up against two of the artists that are Stardom champions, and this is, I think they're two, maybe Japanese, I'm not sure, some kind of Asian, and I don't even know how to say her name. It's like Io Shirai, something like that. Ioshirai, and Kairi Hojo. And so I've got links for them too. Those were another two I was really impressed with. And then there's an exhibition match between Kaylee Ray versus Io Shirai, whatever her name is, kind of deal. And I've got one for Kaylee posted up there. So this UK card, it's actually happening this weekend. And divadirt.com is actually going to have people on location. So if you're interested, they'll have the results posted for these matchups on their website this weekend.
It's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. The other big thing with the independents is AAA Mexico and TNA, of all things, are hosting the Lucha Libre World Cup. And so they've got like different teams, 3 women teams. And so they're announcing them like each week, I think. I'm not sure how much time is between it, but they just recently, I think this week, announced who is going to be on Team Canada. So Team Canada is actually the AAA Women's Champion Taya Valkyrie, who has been on TNA, if I'm not mistaken. Allie, so Cherry Bomb, she's with TNA. She's on Team
Taya
Canada.
Valkyrie?
Do what?
Say that name again. Taya?
I think it's Taya. Taya or Taya.
How's it
It's
spelled?
Taya.
Oh, that's Taya on Lucha Underground.
Yeah, that's what she's been on, Lucha Underground. She's on Team Canada. Cherry Bomb, aka Allie from TNA, she's on Team Canada, and then someone named Casey Spinelli, who's just touted as being an independent wrestler, she's going to be on there for Team Canada. Awesome. Team Japan is Aja Kong, which will be awesome.
She's still wrestling?
Yeah, she is.
Damn, girl.
Sumair Natsu, and then Yuki Miyazaki is going to be Team Japan, and I've got stuff for them too. I was really impressed with Team Japan. I was like, damn. And then Team Mexico is Fabi Apache.
Oh,
Lady
Nick
Apache.
likes her. Nick likes her.
And Mary Apache. So it's all the Apaches for Team Mexico kind of deal. And then Team USA is to be determined. They haven't decided that yet. But that is a tournament that's going to be happening. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to happen in Mexico. I'm not 100% on where that's going to be happening. They're still releasing the teams for that, but that's going to be a huge thing as well. So we've got this huge Stardom tour going on over in the UK, and then some shows here in the US, and then we've got this to look forward to. So it is a great time for women's independent wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. That sounds all cool. So listeners, make sure you get your asses out of that description box and click some of these links and get it popping and start familiarizing yourself with the indie scene, because there's so many talented women out there. And us at TPP, we love to support all women's wrestling. We try to cover everything in our hour and 30-minute show. But on our freaking Twitter account, we all over it. So I'm sure we'll have coverage for this as they go on our Twitter. So make sure you guys check out our Twitter account as well.
I'm going to do my best to find as much information as I can, because I'm really invested in this tournament. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes. You better work, bitch.
Yeah. Just from these 2 cards that I have, I'm like, oh my God, this is like a who's who of the independent scene right now.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm expecting at some point on one of these cards to see Kimberly bounce through. Obviously, Cherry's already bouncing through on the AAA TNA one. So that's really exciting. And like you said, in our description box, we've got all that. So remember, these may be independent stars now, but they are going to be the luchadoras, the knockouts, the divas of tomorrow kind of deal. These are the women that are up and coming on the independent scene that we all know is going to filter right into these other companies. So get yourself familiar, because you could be cool and tell your friends that you liked them when they were just wrestling in a gymnasium in the UK.
Yeah. Be cool. Be a mark like us.
Be a mark like us.
We should make a shirt. Be a mark like us. And on the back, TPP.
Well, that's all the notes I had, unless you want to get into Lucha Underground.
No, because I don't have time to do Lucha Underground today. So I'm sorry, guys. If you guys were looking forward for us to talk about Lucha Ground, we will talk about Lucha Ground on our next show. That's for sure. So, Brandy, take us out.
Okay, well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in with us. I hope that you're just as excited as we are about all of these upcoming events and the direction of women's wrestling and of wrestling in general. If you are looking for us on Twitter, you can find me at Miss WrestleBlog. James, where can they find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at JimmyVibes_.
And of course, you can follow the whole gang at _RealPipeBomb on Twitter. And also, we have a Tumblr, an Instagram.
Yeah, you can follow us on Instagram at the Pipe Bomb Podcast.
Yeah, so find us, and guys, please show us some love. We're trying to crank our show up. We're trying to get more listeners. We're trying to do the damn thing on YouTube, right? So please, smash the like button, subscribe, share with your friends. Come to our Twitter, retweet us. We'll retweet you. We've got such original content, gifts of the day, power rankings. We're like no other podcast on YouTube, and kind of not like any other podcast, period, when it comes to wrestling. We are so in it, and we pride ourselves on being the most fan interactive podcast. So please, guys, come and follow us on our social media.
I know. So find us on social media, bitches. Bye, Brandy. It's been fun.
It has.
Oh, and
Guys,
another thing. Ooh, before we go, make sure you guys be on the lookout for the TNA Top 5, Top 5, Top 5, Top 5, Top 5. It'll be out tomorrow. I promise. Well,
oh, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. It'll be out tomorrow.
Well, they're listening to this. They're probably listening to this now, which is tomorrow. So Saturday, this weekend. So this weekend, the TNA Top 5 will be out, and Brandy's lovely ass will be on there.
Yeah, it's my first top 5. Will be tune in to pop my top 5 cherry.
All right. See you, Brand.
See ya.
Toodles.